Hello, welcome to week 45 of 2022. My name is Stacy, and welcome to Reads of an Apple. I am here to start this week's vlog. Now, if you had seen last week's vlog, usually I try to start these on the weekend, and I count my weeks as Saturday or Sunday, depending on where it sits in the month, through Fridays. But today is Monday, so happy Monday. I kind of touched base on it in the previous vlog, but I will again here if you missed my wrap up of the previous one. But I kind of was down emotionally. I was definitely on the struggle bus this weekend, and the heater just kicked on, so I'm sorry if you can hear that. I really struggled, and I gave myself the leeway to not force myself to do anything that I felt like I should do, and I hardly got out of bed all weekend. I was definitely very down, definitely rough emotionally. I do struggle with depression, and this I think was a mixture of depression and stress and my horrible sleep schedule and all of these different things just kind of compounding onto each other. So I, instead of trying to not shove it all down, but trying to like push through it all, I just let my body do what it wanted to do, which was pretty much nothing this weekend. So that's unfortunate. And I really have to kind of kick myself because I get in this cycle where I'm not in a good headspace, and then I kind of give myself the leeway to not work on like a crochet project or not read or do some of the admin stuff I have to do that I would like to do extra stuff. Like a project I would like to do is go through all of my 2020 books on Goodreads, because at that point I wasn't using a spreadsheet to go over, like to compile my stats. And oh gosh, what I would like to do is go through at least 2020, and then I can compare 2020, 2021, 2022, and then have like a full decade through 2029 of like my reading stats. So I do want to go back to 2020 and go through all of that, but that's eventually maybe. And it'd be interesting to kind of go back and do a bracket of, and do my like favorite genres brackets for 2020, so then I can also kind of compare them every year and see like if maybe a certain author is a favorite every year or something like that. But anyway, I have lots of ideas that I would like to do, but I get into this cycle where I give myself the grace, the leeway. I don't push myself to do these things that I would like to do, and to just kind of relax and let my mind do what it wants to kind of recuperate. And then on the flip side, when I kind of start coming out of these, I get down on myself about not doing this, and like, oh, if I just sat there and watched TV all day, why couldn't I have crocheted something or worked on something at the same time? So then I kind of drag myself down thinking, oh, I was so unproductive and I lost all that time, which then puts me in a downer of a mood, which then makes me not want to do anything. And it like, it's like this vicious cycle on itself. But I do have little tips, or not tips, but I have little tricks to try to pull myself out. And so Sunday, about halfway through the day, I kind of started implementing those, and I'm kind of coming out of it. I'm still a little not 100% there, but it does not help that yesterday they announced that Peter McNab has passed away. Rest in peace, Peter McNab. I was crying yesterday over this. He was the color commentator for the Avalanche. There are very few games where he was not color commentating. commenting. I don't know what's happening in my brain here. There are very few games that he did not broadcast, whether he was doing the play-by-play, whether he was just doing the post-game intermission reports and whatever. And I don't know, I haven't heard anything on what happened. And I mean, he was a Bruins player. He played hockey himself. He's known for, if you know, old
a little dangle, a little shooty shoot.
Bruins hockey. He went into the stands and beat a fan with his shoe. I mean, the things that they got away with in early hockey. I mean, this is when, like, they weren't even skating with helmets. It is so crazy to watch those old videos. But then he worked with the Bruins with the Devils. He played with the Bruins. He worked with the Devils. And then when the Quebec Nordiques came to Colorado and turned into the Colorado Avalanche, he was brought in as a broadcaster. And he's been a broadcaster ever since. He was one of the longest tenured hockey broadcasters. And last year he went into the US Hockey Hall of Fame, and I mean, he did, because the Avs did play this weekend. They played Friday and Saturday in Finland. They won both games, which is super fun. But he did the game. He did the game before the Finland games. But last weekend, Friday or Saturday, I think, is when they played in New York. And then they went to Finland, and they had a couple days before the games there. So he was still doing broadcasts last week. Although I do have to say, he seemed, I don't know, I had this split thought, because he wasn't doing play-by-play, because Mosier is traveling and he does the play-by-play, and Pete usually does the color commentary, and Riker, because they were doing the international feed in Finland for the international broadcast of the Finland games. Pete didn't go with them to Finland, so he was doing like the intermission shows and the pregame and postgame stuff. And there was a split second, one moment where I was just like, he seems old. Like, he just, and it broke my heart a little bit. And I had the thought of, oh, is he getting ready to maybe retire? And because he's always been an older gentleman, but he didn't feel, or he still had so much love for the game, and he would just get so excited. And I mean, these next hockey games, it'll be weird not hearing Pete's voice. I mean, as far as I've known hockey, as far as I've watched hockey, outside of, maybe some of the older national media coverages of playoff games, he's been on every game. And even then, since like this newer, when they've been in the playoffs, he's been on the radio with Connor McGahey. So it breaks my heart. And they haven't really said anything of what happens. I do know that last year it came out that he was battling cancer, but then they did announce later in the season that he was cancer free. So I don't know if it came back. I mean, he very much didn't. They were talking about it this morning on the radio, and it just kind of, it made me chuckle, because Pete was very much wanted everybody to focus on the game of hockey and learn about the game of hockey. And there's so many fans and other broadcasters and even hockey players who have come out and just been like, he is just such a proponent of the love of the game of hockey. And I feel like he is a big part of why I love the game of hockey, and just the way that he sees things and the way that he explains things and all the stories he had. And I don't know, it breaks my heart that we won't have Peter McNabb anymore. And there were some moments last year he got to go with them to Tampa when they won the cup, and He was on the ice, and it was so funny because they were like, "You're gonna touch the cup," and he's like, "Oh no." As he was a player, he's like, I was a former player. I did not win the cup. I don't care if I'm with the broadcasting people who now get to touch the cup." And he would take a picture with the cup, but he would not touch the cup. He would not, because he did. He just. But he was on the ice and just teary-eyed, and Landeskog, our captain, went over and gave him a big hug and gave him a super special little one-on-one interview where they both just were holding back tears. And I mean, he's on my ringtone because it's hockey time. I have my text ringtone is a call of Mosier and Pete, and Cam McCarr scored a goal, and Mosier goes a little dangle, a little shooty shoot, and then Pete goes shooty shoot. Like, what are you saying? And that's my ringtone because I just love it. And then there was the Nazem Kadri goal in overtime last playoffs where Connor was freaking out, and he's like, "Where's the puck? Where's the puck?" And Pete's just like, "It's in! It's in!" And he's just like so calm but excited about it, and it's really sad, and it'll be really hard. We don't have a game till later this week. I want to say Thursday or Friday is the next Avalanche game, and I think it'll be on altitude, so I'm sure they're going to do a very lovely, very touching in memoriam package. And he was just a broadcaster, but I feel like the Cronkies and Altitude does a really good job at hiring people who really love the games and really love sports. And Pete, I mean, he's the only one that's still working for the company broadcasting wise that was doing the TV broadcasts during their first cup run in 1996. I mean, the first Stanley Cup for the Colorado Avalanche in their first year of creation. And for him to see the cup run last year, I've seen a lot of fans post that they should raise his name in the banners or do something for him up in Ball Arena. It used to be Pepsi Center, but now it's Ball Arena, and maybe not a banner, but I would love some part of the arena to be dedicated to him, whether it's the McNabb broadcasting booth or, I don't know, a wall with his accomplishments or just a dedication to him or a mural or something. I would just love, I feel like something like that probably will happen, but I really hope it does, because I will miss you, Peter McNabb, as well a lot of Avalanche fans. So that was a little bit of a downer, and I did not expect to go into that so long, but there's been a lot of really nice things said about his fellow broadcasters and the Avalanche organization and players and the Altitude organization and the Kroenke family who owns the Avs and the Nuggets and more sports teams than that. But it's, from what has come out already, I feel like they're really, it's just sad. It's just sad when you lose an icon like this. And usually when celebrities pass or, sports figures pass or something like that, I'm usually not affected, but this one got me. This one got me for sure. But I will stop talking about Pete. And let's talk about the books that I read this weekend. So, despite being in the middle of the fanfiction readathon, which finished today, And despite being 24% into Manigold, I decided I needed something else. So I picked up Desire in His Blood by Zoe Draven. This is the first book in her new series, Brides of the Kylor. This came out November 1st. I was debating between picking up this and Resisting Maxu, but I went with this. So 5 stars. Oh my god, this was so good. This was just what I needed. It just took me away. It swept me away. I adored this book. I'm very excited to see where she's taking this series. These guys are like winged. They're dark gray skinned, which is my favorite color, and I love it when aliens are like my favorite color and skin, like that gray smoky skin. Oh, I love it. And then they drink blood, and they have like a blood mate, and when they drink blood, it gives them like, they grow in size and they get like super powerful. He was so, and this was definitely had some angst to it. So basic premise. Azor is, I did not write down his breed of alien, but he is this type of alien, as you can see on the cover. And he has propositioned for Gemma, who is the eldest of her family, the eldest daughter, but she's also the eldest overall. It's her and her 2 sisters, to be married. No cost. He contacts a matchmaker who is also kind of like a bookie lender type dude. And her father was a war hero and has a gambling addiction. And so she is kind of she's been trying to take over the family finances for the past 5 years and get them out of the hole and get them so where they have to, stop selling off their furniture and selling off their things and be able to make decent marriage matches for her 2 younger sisters. And she's firmly on the shelf. She's a spinster. She is 30 years old or almost 30 years old. And in this human society, if you're over 25, you're basically not marriageable at this point. But he ends up brokering a marriage contract with her and pays off all of her father's debts. And there is a reason why he has his own secret reasons, and we do kind of get that he's getting revenge against her father, but we don't know for what, so I will not spoil it. And she ends up caving and agreeing to the marriage contract, and they get married, and he takes her off to his planet, and he wants to dislike her. He wants to break her down and use her, and once she has broken and he's gotten his revenge, give her back to her father. And he starts falling for her, and when he drinks from her, he realized that she is his blood mate. And I love Zoe Draven. I love Zoe Draven. There is a little bit of talk. There is one mention of the Drakarians and the Coluxians, I think, but her other two like very popular series, of which I think I need to finish both of those. Maybe I know I have, I think, 2 books of her, the ones that are like Game of Thrones, and then I think I might have one new one that came out after I got caught up in the other series, but I definitely I'm so happy to be back with Zoe Draven. She's one of my favorite sci-fi authors. I cannot wait for the next book. It said 2023, so we will see, but 5 stars. I love this. And then since I was completely in a sci-fi mood, instead of picking up Resisting Maxu, which I've been anticipating for freaking forever, I don't know why I didn't pick it up. Instead, I picked up Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. This is a reread for me. This is the 3rd time I've read this book, and I knew it would be a quick read, and I had previously rated it 4 stars, but I decided on this reread I'm going to bump it up to 4.5 because this is the third time I've read it. I obviously love it a lot, and if you haven't heard of Ice Planet Barbarians, this one does start out with some trigger warnings for rape and kidnapping, and so definitely check out those warnings. But Georgie is our heroine in the first one, and she and some girls who have been kidnapped by some basketball head aliens end up having ship troubles, and they get trapped on a snowy planet that they dub Not Hoth, and they get saved by the big blue horned aliens, and Vectel is the leader of these guys, and he finds Georgie, and they kind of get paired together, and his Kuyi, which is a symbiote that these aliens have to survive on this planet, recognizes Georgie as like his fated mate, I guess you could call it. They don't quite call it that. They do call it mates, but it's definitely fated mate feels, and it is their romance. We got language barriers. We got possessive Vectel, and all he wants to do is just make her happy, make her feel good, and he's just so happy to have a mate. And I have not finished this series. I believe I think I'm up to like 15 or 16. So I definitely need to finish this series, and then I can jump to her spin-off series from this. But I don't know. It gave me what I wanted. It was such a good read. I did kind of fast forward the beginning. Chunk where they get kidnapped and we see the like rape and stuff like that. So I've read it twice before. I was like, I don't need to read this again. So I just kind of jumped to where they crash land. But yeah, 4.5 stars. I mean, there's a reason it blew up on TikTok and everywhere else. So if you were interested, I feel like this is a good starter. Ice Planet Barbarians, because it is goofy enough, but I feel like the characters are just also likable, and these aliens are all they're just so happy to have found mates that, I mean, it's hard not to like them. So there's that. Then I picked up one of my TBR books for the month, and that is Finding You by Lena Hendricks. This is the first book in her Chickaloo Falls series, and I give this 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this. All I knew was that the hero in this was military, and I know that Lena Hendricks is friends with Elsie Silver, because when Elsie Silver released one of her Gold Rush Ranch books, one of Lena Hendricks' books came out around the same time, and they did a live show together celebrating both their releases. And so I was intrigued by that, and I know Shelby has also recommended Lena Hendricks' books before, and she's been really promoting her newest book, and so I was like, now's the time to read Lena Hendricks, and I really enjoyed this. So this is between Lincoln and Joanna. This was angstier than I expected. Definitely we are dealing a lot with Lincoln going through PTSD and just adjusting to life outside of the military. He was a Marine. I mean, we start with him abroad in service, and we start when he is with his group of guys, and they've been bombed, and he is a medic, so he's trying to save guys as he can. He is covered in shrapnel, and because he sustained nerve damage down his arm, that is his trigger arm, and he has a nervous tick, so you can't have a soldier who's shooting with the nervous tick in his hand. So he gets honorably discharged because of his injury, and he comes home, and he meets his younger brother's best friend, Jo, who was Joanna, and she had written him letters while he was abroad, and he hadn't met her beforehand, and he kind of was falling in infatuation, I guess. Maybe not love, but he just knew that she was his person because the way that she wrote her letters really spoke to him. So when he finally finds Joanna, because she signs all her letters Joanna, but she goes by Jo. When he finally finds her, they cannot stay away from each other. But he misunderstands that his brother and her are more than just friends, and he thinks that his brother is harboring a crush on her, and even though they aren't currently dating, he thinks his brother wants to date him. And there is a little bit of miscommunication in that, and that's one of the reasons why I brought it down to 4.5 stars, and that is because his brother is gay. And every time his brother tries to talk to him about it, to come out to him, something happens. Like he falls and he breaks his leg, or like there's always something interrupting him. And so I wish that that part would have been solved earlier in the book, because then we had the angst of him feeling like he's not good enough for her because he's suffering from PTSD. He has anger issues. He has, horrendous, he calls them nightmares, but they seem almost like night terrors the way that they're described. And so he's not in a good place. He's definitely struggling. And so he thinks that he's not good enough for her. And I feel like there was enough angst in that we didn't need his brother's angst piled into that too. But I really enjoyed the way that it all kind of went down. And I loved Jo. She is definitely cool as all get out. She had her own securities. She is the only female guide in America, or I guess she does her own company, and so it's the only female-owned guiding company or something. But she takes people camping, and she takes them and she teaches them fly fishing, and she, does all this research, and she goes into public land to find new hidden camping areas and hiking trails and fishing spots. And that's not, like, I enjoyed camping and I enjoyed hiking with my dad growing up. Definitely. I was never a big fishing person. Like, I fished when I was little, and my mom always had stories of me having a tiny little Snoopy pole when I'm little, and we were out fishing, and I guess we were getting bluegills, and I kept being like, it's too hard. And my dad was just getting frustrated because he keeps pulling out these tiny little ones, and he's like, they're not too hard for you. These are tiny little fish. And then I was yelling for him again, and they were just like, oh my gosh, you can do it. And I just wouldn't stop screaming, and they turned around, and my Snoopy pole was bending, and I caught a 30-pound fish or something like that with my 5-year-old Snoopy pole. And they were just like, oh my gosh. So definitely girl who called fish, I guess. But I don't know. So I've always been around that type of stuff. So, and as I got older, I never really I didn't like the worms. It was the worms thing. So I've never been a big fisher myself, but I will come and I will sit on a rock, and I will sit in the quiet of nature, and I will read and just hang out and watch you fish. I don't have to be the one fishing, but I definitely enjoy those kinds of activities. So it was just really cool because she was just, her parents kind of made fun of her being a tomboy, and it was really cool to see a female character who not only just has that as a passion or a hobby, but that that's her job. And I loved it. And I'm talking so much. My nose is starting to run, I guess. I don't know. So I read that. And then I read The Baby Proposition by Kim Lorraine. This is the first book in her Anything for Love series. And I read this because this was the group book for this week for the Buzzing About Romance Clear the TBR event that's going on through the end of the year. And the meeting for this is on Wednesday on Discord. I did not read last week's, and since I had some kind of free time, I was like, yeah, I'll read it. Sounds good. So this is between Claire and Maverick. It worked as a standalone for sure, but there were a lot of side characters and characters in the background. So this definitely links to other series that she's read, but he is a cowboy who inherited a hockey team from his father. So we've got a mashup of like two of my favorite contemporary like character tropes is cowboys and hockey players. Like I'm all in. So I definitely enjoyed this. This is $4. I got this for free. I don't think it's free anymore. I gave this 4 stars. This is a pregnancy bargain romance. They are good friends. He is one of the owners of the Wild Ranch. It's a horse ranch in Montana. And Claire is the local veterinarian. And he kind of put her in the friend zone because, and he explains this to her, where he says you don't put your pen in company ink, and you don't. She's like the only vet in town, and she is one of the best vets in town, so you don't want to potentially break any relationships there when you need the vet to be there, and you don't want to make things awkward or anything like that. But they're good friends, and she's talking about getting artificially inseminated, and she's kind of struggling with that and trying to pick a donor and what she's gonna do and trying to figure things out, and like she wants to move forward, but when it's time to move forward, she's still just like, I don't know. And so Mav offers to be a donor because he's supposed to be going back to Texas to work his grandfather's ranch. And it's a smaller little ranch. And she decides okay because she going into it, she wanted the father not to want anything to do with this child, to not be in its life, and to just be a donor and not have any say in any decisions. Like, she just wanted it to just be her and this baby. And he's like, well, I'm moving back to Texas. So, and I have good genes, and like where my family comes from. And he secretly, we never actually see him tell her this in the book, but he actually secretly sets up a trust for her and this kid. So they decide. So she agrees, and she accepts him as his donor. And then there's a misunderstanding where it gets kind of awkward when he goes to make his first deposit, as he calls it, and misses the cup he's trying to fill. And then they're like, well, it's kind of awkward, and you're just sitting in my bathroom. And so then she's like, let's try to make it feel natural. So he misunderstands because he thinks that they're going to do a direct deposit the old way, or the normal way, as he says. So she misunderstands, and then they agree to do it. And then they start banging like bunnies pretty much, and they officially cross the friend zone line. And I liked the conversations between them about why they were kind of put each other in the friend zones and why neither of them made a move. And I liked it that they both listened and understood each other's perspective. And then they were constantly just like, oh my God, why didn't we do this earlier? We could have had 2 years of this. And I thought it was super cute. It was a little odd how it started. I felt like, and there is a prequel novella for it, and I did not read the prequel novella, and the prequel novella in the series actually is about them. So maybe I missed something there. But I felt like we got like thrown into the mix of it. But then it wasn't like the books where you get thrown into the mix and then we like pause and we go back and talk about what happened beforehand and then we move forward. It was just like we're thrown in the mix and we're going. So I was just kind of like, because I hadn't read the other series. all these other people kept coming up, and I could tell, like, they were very obvious nods to other series and other characters. And we've got his two brothers and their wives, and then we've got the Riker Ranch, who all of their people are married and have kids, and they have a reality show, I guess. And so there's a lot of secondary characters that are very clearly from other books, and you could tell they were from other books, and they were just a little too prominent for me, that I just, like, it started kind of pulling me out when we were with them a little bit. So, you know, seeing all these kids, all these people getting pregnant, I was just like, okay, cool, good for them. I don't know them. And then I did think it really kind of hurt me. I felt bad for Maverick because she wanted to kind of hide it, because she didn't want, I mean, there was already going to possibly be a stigma in this small town of her having a baby as a single mother. And she was always planning on just saying that she just got knocked up, or the baby, or she didn't know who the baby daddy was or something. In my head, I'm like, I mean, this book came out earlier this year. I'm like, it's 2022 when we're writing this book. Like, that's not, and even Claire says in the book, it's not weird for a woman, like single parents, to go get an, not inoculated. These are not vaccines. Inseminated or adopt children because they want to be parents, whether they have a life partner or not. And I was like, why couldn't she just say, oh yeah, I got inseminated. I wanted to be a mom, and I was done waiting for the person that I wanted to have kids with, so I made a baby. I don't know. And then hiding the situation made him feel bad, because then when she hires a friend from vet school to come and kind of help take care of the business, or take care of the clinic, because she will eventually need to go on maternity leave, she ends up going on like dinner business dates, and they are business related, but he doesn't know this, and nobody in the town that knows this. So he's constantly just kind of hearing how better for her this dude is. Not that, and they don't know that Maverick and her are dating. And I just felt so bad for him, because he was already kind of feeling like, because before this had happened, he'd been hurt, and he had been through family situations where he didn't think he wanted to be a father and have kids and get married and the whole shebang. And so he was very insecure about himself, and then seeing her in this situation, and then hearing everyone in the small town just compiling on his insecurities, and then not having her be willing to come out and be like, yeah, no, Maverick and I are together. Like, I'm not embarrassed to have him as my baby daddy, so to speak. I felt so bad for him. And then he got drunk and kind of went crazy. And I didn't like that, like, she apologized to him for it, but I was a little upset that so much of it was put on him. And yeah, he got a little drunk and disorderly. I'm not excusing that, but she really hurt him, and I feel like she should have apologized more to him instead of them both. And he was so adamant on apologizing to her, and he wrote her this letter, and he apologized to her multiple times, and she apologized him to the once. So it just felt like it wasn't quite balanced out for the situation. And I don't know, I'm intrigued to read more from Kim Lorraine for sure. I definitely want to check out the other cowboy books that she's read, and apparently the rest of the books are going with the hockey team, so the rest of this series is hockey based. So color me intrigued. And I'm dying, so I will be right back. Okay, I am back. I had to switch positions so you're plugged in while we finish this. So I can't remember if I said, but 4 stars to Kim Lorraine. And then All of these I used for Fall in Love, bingo board number 2, but that is the only reading challenge that I applied them to. So I will just quickly run through them. For Desire in His Blood, I used it for new release I'm excited for. For Ice Planet Barbarians, I used it for hyped indie romance. For The Baby Proposition, I used it for Cowboy Ranch Farm Set Romance. And then for Finding You, I used it for book or series recommended by Shelby. And I definitely want to read more in the Chickaloo Falls, for sure. So, other book news. I got Happy Book Mail today, and look what came. Isn't it gorgeous? It is so pretty. And this teal in the middle, these covers are so gorgeous, and I kind of want to reread it already. I loved this book so freaking much. But I have okay, if I get through my book club books, I may or may not reread this, but it's good. It was good. 5 stars. Probably, it wouldn't surprise me if this ends up being my favorite paranormal of 2022. So, there's that. But I just had to show Happy Book Mail. It said when I checked it this weekend, November 14th. And I was like, you said it was supposed to be here by the 10th. But I'm glad that it came before then. So, the last I guess I have 2 more things. So, we'll do the quest calendar. So we do have to make up for this weekend and then also do today's. But if you have not seen my other weekly vlogs, I have been playing the quest calendar by Sundial Games. 2022 is the Gates of Terralon. Basic premise is we have been playing as Zavani Moonchaser. She is monk class and her race is a feline, so she is a cat person. And we have been tasked by a world watcher to go to all of these different worlds and collect gate shards. Now, these gate shards are from the gate to the demon world that had shattered. And from my understanding, the universe is going to implode if we don't put the gate back together. So that is what we have been tasked with. We are currently on a world that's like mechanical robot based, so that's been super fun. But I need a spot to set those. So we will just kind of go over briefly what the pages look like, and then we will get through what's going on. So last Friday, this is kind of where we set off. So this is what the pages look like. All of our story information will be in a script type font, usually in the top or in the bottom, or it's usually kind of separated. And then if any mechanics will be in a bold font that's in a box. This one specifically is an attack page. We were in a fight with this guy. So instead of having a mechanics box, we have what is going on with the fight. So in this instance, we fought one person for 3 rounds, and then these were the rolls that we have to make. However, all of the information that we need to play the day's page is on the back of the previous page. So you will see that in a second. So let's go ahead and get to it. Saturdays and Sundays are combined into one page. So like I said, last Friday, we were fighting this gentleman. He was a monument in the city, and the gate shard somehow ended up inside of him and turned him into like a golem type creature. But we killed him last week. So, okay. So here we go. It looks like we will get some treasure, which is fun. We've got our story script, and then this is our mechanics, and then all the information that we need is on the back of the previous day page. So let's see what the art is. Looks like we're inside him. Maybe we're getting the gate shards. So let's see what it says. Okay, the monument collapses and falls before you in a loose pile of rubble. pieces scatter everywhere. You get to work digging out the piece of the gate you need. In doing so, you also find a few treasure items inside. These may have belonged to the victims of this creature. They won't be needed now. Okay. So, number 1 is take the gate shard, and we will need a d20 roll plus our wisdom modifier. Reminder, danger sense. And this is to avoid becoming cursed by the gate shard. And then number 2 is pick one treasure item to take with you. You can't have 2 of the same item types equipped at the same time. These items can be sacrificed upon death to resurrect your hero. See rules on death and magic equipment. Wait until you resolve the events of tomorrow before you cut out the token. However, because I am using my character sheet in the hero book, I am not cutting out the tokens to add to my character sheet, so we don't have to worry about that aspect of it. So what did I do with my die? I grabbed my little rip bowl from Halloween. I figured it'd work as a dice tray for today. So we need our wisdom roll. So wisdom is a +3, and then we do have danger sense, so that adds +2. So we had our +5 to whatever we roll with our d20, and this is a mini d20 that came with the dice set with the game. They're all tiny dice, which is fun. So that is a 13. So we are at 16. So if the result is 15 or more, your head fills with dread as you approach the shard. You avoid letting the magic affect you. Cool, so we have collected the gate shard from this realm. So you may only pick one item. Okay, so let us take a look. We've got machine bracers, which is +2 to attack. Cog weapon, which is +1 to attack and +1 to damage. And belt of many gears, which is +1 to attack and +1 to health. So those are the items that we get to choose from. So, let me look at our character sheet and see what type of stuff we have equipped. And if there's one that we have not used yet. Because then I will be leaning towards those ones. So, we do have bracers already. We do have a weapon already. But we do not have a belt. So the belt is +1 to attack and +1 to health. I'm okay with that. So we will take the belt of many gears. So I'll have to mark that down later. So that is what we did Saturday and Sunday. So then let's get to today's. Okay. So it looks like, I'm guessing because we have the gate shard, this is possibly the temple in this area, so then we can get to the portal to jump to a new world. But let's see what it says. You waste no time in traveling across the city back to Lower Trident to find the Terralon Gate. You find an old building in a rusted part of town. The entrance is blocked off by crossing beams of electrical energy. There appears to be a number pad next to these beams. Perhaps a code might disable them. You also find that somebody carved a note in the ground nearby. So, gain access to the temple. Hi! Okay. Okay. So this is what the keypad looks like. Can you focus for me? And then this here is what is carved into the ground. So we've got this crazy language here. Okay. So we have 4 options. Pick the lock, which is a dexterity roll plus locksmith. Climb up to an open vent, which is strength reminder athlete. Break the pieces that emit the beams, which is just roll damage. And then D is solve the inscription. If you can successfully input the correct code in the keypad, you can disable the barrier. So You know what this looks like to me? A 10 key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. So then, are these 9, 9? No, 1, 9. So 19, 9. Oh, really? What if I said you were a cheese poop? He's over there meowing at me. Okay, so we're going to solve this here. So I'm going to pause and I will be right back. Okay, so I think I figured it out. So the inscription on the bottom are, if I look at them compared to what is on the number pad, the code on the bottom should say 19, 9, 24, 15, 14, 5, 20, 23, 15. That is too long of a 10 number keypad. So I was looking at these and I felt like this was alphabet. So I went through the alphabet just real quick, and because I know like E is 5 and I know 19 is S and 20 is T. So I was like, I wonder if this is alphabet based, an alpha code. So I went through and I matched the numbers up to the numbers that they gave us, and I got 6, 1, 2. So I'm going to guess that the code for this keypad is 6, 1, 2. So that will be, here, this guy, and then this guy. So we've got the curve over the dash, and then the triangle over the dash. So let's see what the answer is, and I hope I got this right. Otherwise, I'm making up a code all by myself. Okay. Solution. The number pad shows 1 through 9 with 0 on the bottom. The inscription shows the numbers 19, 9, 24, 15, 14, 5, 20, 23, and 15. So I at least got that part correct. When it is matched with the alphabet, the numbers spell 612. The keypad code is 612. Oh my gosh. I love when I get to solve codes and riddles and stuff. This is so much fun. Okay. We got it. Good. I'm glad that I wasn't just going off on a wild tangent by myself, because I have done that before when I'm like, ooh, this could be this code, and it's a completely different cipher. So, yay, we solved it. And it actually didn't take me very long, but it helped that there were some common letters in here that I know from my years of playing Scrabble, just other games that like I know off the top of my head that S, and partly because these are in my name, so I know S is 19 and T is 20 and like A is 1 and E is 5, and so I was like, and then with the 24, I was like, I don't know if that would work, but then I was like, but that's an X. Anyway, I'm glad it worked. And maybe I probably could have filmed me working through it. So, but anyway, I wanted to save time because this clip is almost an hour long. Again, I don't know why my opening vlog clips for the past couple weeks have been redonkulously long. But there's that for the quest calendar. I'm going to take a good drink of tea. I've got my Lead and Lorcan mug. Oh, the next mug. So I had said, whenever I unboxed the 3 other mugs I got from this, I thought that that was the end of this series. It is not the end of this series. The December mug for Enchanted Fandoms, I will link them down below. Their drinking vessel box is Lysandra an 80 on. So, and then she said that is the final one for now in the series. So if you like Lysandra and or Adion in their pairing, that mug is the drinking vessel for December. So hop on board because I love these mugs. They're big, they're gorgeous, and the artwork is on both sides. So, and they're very pretty. And I'm drinking my peppermint cheer tea. I have one bag left after this. So I hope that it starts popping up in my local World Market so I can get some more, because this peppermint tea is, this is by Twinings. If you have not heard me talk about this tea, it's called Peppermint Cheer. It's peppermint and vanilla. It's by Twinings in their holiday boxes. They have 3 main holiday, or I guess they have 4. I keep saying 3, but I think there's actually 4, because there's the red, the blue, and the yellow. And there might be a green one that I'm just remembering. But this is the like yellow white box. But otherwise, the only other thing I have for you is, this is both backwards and upside down. I plan on starting tonight. A Court of Frost and Starlight. This is the SJM along book for this month, and the meeting is this weekend. So I need to get this read. So I am hoping to start it. This is an SJM novella, but it is like 200-ish pages. But I feel like this will go pretty quickly unless I choose to take my time. But I love that I was able to find an original version of this one. It's so pretty. And it's got that sheen and the gorgeous dress. And I love the filigree on the sides. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. But yeah, so I plan on starting this tonight. And I think that's all I have for you. So I will see you all tomorrow. And I hope you had a good Monday. I'll see you all soon. Hello. Happy Tuesday for once. I've got this little girl. Nice. Hi. You want to say hi to the people? I was talking to one of my coworkers today and realized her birthday is next Monday, and she will be drinking age. This little kitty will turn 21 on Monday. And I've had her for almost all 21 of those years. I can't believe it. I can't believe I've had her for almost 21 years. I got her around Thanksgiving when she was a kitten, so she was only a couple weeks old. And she is my little cheese poof. And when she was a kitten, yeah, we thought she was going to be a long hair because she was all fuzz. She was just a little poof ball, which is where the cheese poof came from. Huh. But yeah, I can't believe it. Oh, she's getting so old. She's my old lady kitty. I know, you're my old lady kitty. But you'll always be my baby kitten. She's just happy as can be right now. Goodness, you want to say hi? Hi. Why are you grunting? Yeah? Oh, really? This is like the quietest she's ever been in my lap. Huh. And we are struggling with the time change. Her poor little kitty biological clock does not realize that there has been a time change. I know. So when I get home from work, she thinks that I have been starving her for the past hour and a half. Huh. Book-wise. A quick jump. I did not start a quart of Frost and Starlight last night. I meant to, but by the time I got in bed, I was too tired to read. So I was going to say I got far enough to pick out a bookmark, but I didn't even pick out a bookmark yet. But I do want to start this tonight. It is 8:30. So I have finished editing last week's vlog. Look at me. So that is exporting right now. So I should be able to get everything last week's and the week before should go up on Thursday. So this is after this one, or this is before this one is up, obviously, when you're seeing this. So it's kind of nice to kind of get back in the routine. But I still have not crocheted anything, and the next 2 weeks for my gingerbread blanket drop on Saturday. And I have not started the last 2 weeks. So I need to get going on that. So I'm going to watch an episode of Below Deck and then listen to my Below Deck podcast for that episode. So I'll give myself like an hour and a half to crochet. So then that puts me in bed like 10ish, and then I can read probably till 11, if not midnight. I should stop reading earlier because I'm going in earlier to work. But last night I couldn't sleep and was up till like 1 o'clock and still managed to get up. And I even left early today so I could go vote. So yeah. Oh yeah. Happy election day. My sticker. And I don't really want to get political, but I do want to say thank you to the people who were posting to go vote, and thank you to the people who were very adamant in just saying, please look at your local representatives and vote informed, and not telling you who to vote for. I get really frustrated when I hear people tell people how to vote, and especially when they're targeting it towards younger voters. And it is my belief that we need to teach them to become informed voters, even if it's just reading the blue book that comes with your ballot. At least understanding what you are saying yes or no to. Because I am very much not someone, even though I am registered in one of the two main parties, for my local people, I voted for a couple Republicans. I voted for one Democrat who I liked better than the other options. I voted for one Unity person because I liked what they were saying for their position. And then I even voted for a couple constitutionalists. So I like to just see what everybody's saying and see who aligns best with me. I feel like I'm probably like a lot of average Americans, where even though I'm registered with one party, I am more in the middle. And I definitely have leanings towards one party when it comes to more like economic decisions, and I'm definitely leaning towards another party when it comes to more like social issues. So I don't know, I just feel like I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about it, and they were like, yeah, I just vote for all of my party. And I was like, well, I try to vote for people who are beliefs that I go with. There is someone running for Senate. I can't remember which state, but they're running as a Republican, but they are also, I feel like they are a modern Republican is what I would call them, because they aren't as staunch on things like women's rights and abortion and things like that. And on those issues, he is more liberal, but so I feel like he's like a more modern Republican. And they were like, well, I don't know, there's just extremes in everywhere, and there's extremists on both ends, so I just vote with my party. And I didn't really say anything. I was like, oh, okay. But in my head, I'm like, but isn't that the point? If you find someone who is more representative of you and not an extremist, wouldn't that be the point, to get more non-extremists or non-far right, far left, more middle of the road people into office? Because then that's more representative of what I perceive as most Americans as. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I know politics is a touchy subject. And I had a friend who for several years did not vote because she did not want to vote uninformed, but she she didn't want to take the time to become informed. And I understood her decision, because she was like, I would rather vote informed and make an informed decision on who I would like to vote for in office, but because I'm not informed, I'm not voting on people. She would still vote for constitutional law changes and things like that are easier, because they say in the Blue Book, at least in Colorado, if you say yes, this is what this means. If you say no, this is what this means. So it's laid out a little bit, but she wouldn't vote for a lot of the lower tiered government offices because she didn't really know these people, and she didn't really want to put in the effort, I guess. But I understood it, and I didn't begrudge her for it, because I thought it was weird at first. I was like, you don't vote? But when she explained it to me and how important for her it was to, if you vote informed. And I was like, okay, I understand it. But so, I mean, to each their own, but I definitely do implore, if you are voting, obviously this is going up after Election Day, so it means nothing, but if you are voting, please vote informed. That's all I have to say. Today is release day for several books. So I had 3 books pre-ordered that came today, so I will show them off to you. Alright, so the first is Some Dukes Have All the Luck by Christina Britton. Look at this gorgeous cover. This is the first book in a new series of hers, and I think it spins off the previous 2. And this is a part of the... Okay, so the previous one was Isle of Sin or something like that. Let me get my notes. So this one is the Sinful Spinsters series. So this is, and it's SYNNE, which is how her previous series was Isle of Sin, SYNNE, of which I have all the books. And that's what those 3 books are, is the Isle of Sin. So, and then she also has 1 or 2, I think it's just 1 series, but it could be 2 series that she has independently published as well. So I'm a fan of Christina Britton, and I'm excited to try her new series. I don't even know what it's supposed to be about, but she's one of my new auto-buy authors, and she's a newer historical author, so that's always fun. And then sticking with historical romance, we have The Duke in Question by Amelie Howard. Now this has the same kind of lace filigree on the side. And so I had thought, so it reminded me of the princess one, where I think it was Indian Princess or something like that. And then the previous book was Rules for Heiresses. And when I saw that this one was coming out, they are now all considered as part of the same series, which is Daring Dukes. So this is the 3rd book in that series now. And I don't know. Yeah, The Princess Stakes and Rules for Heiresses. So those are the first 2 books. And now this is the 3rd book, and this is a gorgeous red. And I love the rose lace. And it's kind of hard to tell, but there's even a lace but it's the same color as the satin on like the body of her corset. So on the sleeves and on the skirt, it's black lace, but it's like same colored lace. You can kind of tell by the frillies on the edge that matches the red. So it just kind of shows more textured, but super fun. I love Emily Howard. So that's exciting too. And then we have a new Grace Draven book. This is Raven Unveiled. This is the third book in the Fallen Empire series. Her covers are just always absolutely gorgeous. This is a series I have not read yet. I have the first 2 books. It's Phoenix Unbound and I want to say Dragon something. Let's see. Oh, this one's not in the front. This one's empty. Dragon Unleashed. Knew it was Dragon. So this is definitely one of her series that I need to read and get caught up on. But Grace Draven is one of my favorite fantasy romance authors. So she's an auto buy, if anything else, and then this gorgeous freaking artwork. I'm very intrigued about this one because I just saw the like top blurb, which is a woman with the gift to speak to the dead, and the assassin pursuing her may be the only chance a crumbling empire has of holding back a true evil. In this electrifying fantasy romance, she can talk to the dead. That's all I need to know. Like, and an assassin. Okay, Grace, you got me. Although she can write a freaking novella about Cheerios and she'll have me. So I don't know. Anyway. I'm excited this came out. Happy release day. New books make me happy. I'm just gonna put those there. But otherwise, let's just do the quest calendar because I'm rambling on about things a lot longer than I expected. So yesterday we found the temple here and we managed to get inside. We solved the code. So let's see what happens today. Okay, looks like we've got more weird mechanisms inside. Maybe this is a pathway. Let's see what it says. As soon as you're past the entry gate, you hear loud banging sounds. Metal is being slammed against metal. The hallway ahead has a large metal pistons moving up and down. The force and speed of them will crush you with the wrong move. There's no way around. Great. Okay. I'm going to take a drink of tea. I'm using my lead and let me uncover Lorcan's face here. Again, I tend to use the same cup a few days in a row and I'll just rinse it or whatever, but this is probably the last one I'm going to use. I'm not drinking peppermint here today. I only have one of that left, so I'm saving it. But tonight I am drinking, this is my second cup already, the Rooibos Nutcracker from Adagio Teas. It is super good. It's a Rooibos base and it has apple pieces, hazelnut, chestnut, marigold flowers, blue corn flowers, and I think cocoa nibs. Yeah, I think those are cocoa nibs, but it's a good one. It's a good nutty, light tea. The only thing is with Rooibos, you really have to make sure you have a super fine mesh because it's such a small tea blend usually. So I've got all sorts of debris, but it's a good one if you're doing the tea reading. So I do not have a tea reading cup. I do need a tea reading cup, but a lot of the ones that I really like are super vintage and hundreds of dollars. So I have not found one that I like yet that is not hundreds of dollars. But anyway, back to the calendar. We have 3 options. Okay. A. Move quickly through the pistons, which is a dexterity roll, with the skill Danger Sense. B. Try to stop the dangerous pistons, strength. And C, try to predict the movements, intellect with the student skill. I'm going for dexterity. We are dexterity based. So we have a +6, plus we do have danger sense, which gives us another +2. So we have a +8 to whatever we roll. And that is a 13, so 21. Let me take a peek. And this is A. Okay. You move quickly past the slamming pistons. You never once get hit. Cool. Alrighty. So that is it for today. I'm going to put on an episode of Below Deck. I am trying to get caught up in Below Deck Down Under, which is the first season. But yeah, and then I'll crochet. So if I make any good progress, I will show you tomorrow. And then I will let you know how far I get into A Court of Frost and Starlight. But I hope you have a good Tuesday. Hello. Happy Thursday. I skipped a day again, but that's okay. I was busy crocheting. So, the boys are back tonight, so that's exciting. I'll have hockey to watch tonight. It's just about 5:30. The game is at 7, and pregame is usually half an hour beforehand, but tonight they're starting our pregame stuff at 6. And they're going to be doing a round table in memoriam thing for Pete. And I don't know if I updated you or not, but it did come out by Mark Mosier, who has been his partner in the booth, and he also is one of the 3 guys of the radio morning show I listen to. He said that a couple months ago he did get news that his cancer was back. So it was unfortunately cancer. What's crazy is Saturday's game is the Avalanche's Hockey Fights Cancer Night, and they usually have one a year. Every team usually has one a year where they wear special pregame jerseys that are usually like this lavender color, and then they auction them off to charity, and proceeds go for cancer stuff. And so just to lose, one of our own from cancer right before like the local Hockey Fights Cancer Night is so tonight's gonna be rough, and I feel like Saturday's gonna be rough, and it's gonna be rough. This is gonna be my first game without hearing Peter McNabb's voice, really, and it's not the first one, but it's the first one knowing he won't be back, if that makes sense. So I'm excited maybe isn't the right word, but I am excited to kind of hear more stories, and maybe, a lot of stories are coming out about Pete that because he was just so humble and he never wanted any focus on him. He wanted the focus on the game of hockey. And so there's just a lot of really great things coming out, and it's amazing to hear all of the stories that people are saying that corroborate what a good man he really was, and not just seem to be on TV. And I was tearing up a little bit on the way home hearing them talk about him on the radio, and they had a guest on who comes on for like special events sometimes, and he was like, I haven't really had a chance to, put my thoughts out about Pete, and I just really hope. I've seen a lot of fans asking for the maxi pins, which I wanted one when they first started wearing them, when he was first revealed that he was diagnosed with cancer. So I really hope that his family or the Kroenke family or somebody puts together a run of the maxi pins and then donates them to whatever charity his family would like, whether it's Hockey is for Everyone or cancer or whatever it is. Heck, like I told my boss today, I would buy a maxi pin even if the money just went straight to the McNabb family. Like, I just would love to support Maxie that way. I'm going to try it. So that's why I'm recording this before the game. Tonight, I was going to show you, before I put my tea in, I'm doing campfire s'mores from Adagio tonight. And I kept it in my little thing, so you can hopefully kind of see. So this is a black tea, and it has cocoa nibs and chocolate chips. So like, here's a chocolate chip. How cute. And it has dried marshmallows. Look at how cute it is. And then it has some vanilla flavoring. And it's a black tea base. I don't know if I said that. And then it also has some Lapsang Souchong tea, which I think kind of gives it that little bit of graham crackery taste, or because it had, I don't know, it's just a really fun blend. But I figured I'd show you how pretty it looks if I do this, so it's in the light so you can actually see. But it's a super cute, or it's a super good tea. I guess it's super cute too. I don't know. My brain's all over the place, and I'm sorry for that. I still have not started A Court of Frost and Starlight. I did pick out a bookmark. I'm doing this bookmark, which is one of the extra backing cards. This is from the Smoke, Thorn, and Ash deck, I think. Tarot deck. So I figured I'd do that one, even though this isn't super dragony, but I thought it's fantasy based. And so because the pregame stuff doesn't start till 6, I plan on finally reading this until 6, and then I'm going to focus on crocheting during the pregame stuff in games. But I have been crocheting. So I have finished the first portion for last week and this week's portion of the blanket. So it was another section of the frosting swirl, I think is what she called it. So I fold it in half so you can kind of get the full effect. So that's what we're looking at. So we've got the 2 rope bridges from the previous 2 weeks. So we got the rope, and then the waffle stitch, and then the rope, and then this. And then the next option, so the next portion is to choose your options. And it is between licorice or I think frosted windows, and I'm having a hard time deciding between them. I think it would be really I don't know. One is all frosting, so it would be all the white, and then one is the licorice one has frosting and some of the candy color, which is for me the blue. I don't know why I'm not connected to the internet. I was gonna show you pictures. Connect. I don't know why I have to manually come in here and connect you. But yeah, I'm hoping that I can get that portion done tonight. And then I don't even know what the third section is. I'm guessing it might be another round of swirl, but let's see. Okay, I am in, and if you are wondering, if you are a craft person, I use Mega. They have, I think it's 20 gigabytes for free of cloud drive online or on their apps. I know their website is Mega, MEGA.N as in Nancy Z. I'll put it down below if you're interested in it. But what I started doing is for all of my PDF patterns, I have been uploading them into my cloud drive there, so I can access access them from online, from the app. If I want to download them offline, I should probably do that for the projects I have for Christmas, just in case I'm somewhere where I don't have internet. But yeah, I have them all organized. And this is just my crafts, and then I have my crochet, and then my crochet folders, as you can tell, are all like super duper organized, and then they're even organized farther down. So like I've got baby and toddler, and bathrooms and bathroom things and scrubbies, cowls, scarves, and collars, because those are all pretty much the same thing. But I need holiday, Christmas, busy crochet cows 2022, which is the gingerbread house. Okay, so she has some zoom-ins from the blanket that she did in gray. So that is, oh, that's the portion I just did. So this is the licorice. So that's the red, or the red and the white. And that's the one I'm thinking of doing. So then I can get a lot more blue in it. But the other option, which I think is super pretty too, is this portion. And this is the frosted window? Yeah, frosted windows. And I think that's super pretty too. So, but I feel like because I already kind of went with the candy option, I should go with the licorice. Because looking at the blanket in full, I mean, we're almost done. I think we only have one more 2-week section. So this is her original. Let me try to do this here. So this is the candy one. So this is where we're at. We're at this frosting swirl. This is the licorice, and then the frosting swirl. And then we just have this like really cool, like, I don't know, roof tile portion left, and then the edging. So, and then the other blanket has this type of edging, and I'm going to do this edging for sure, but I feel like I want more than just the little bit of blue there and then there. So I think I'm going to go with the licorice, even though I think that this frosting window pattern is super pretty. But who knows, maybe I'll make a second blanket in the future because I have the pattern for both. But so that is what I'm planning on working on. I think I am. I'm going to go with the licorice so I have more of the blue in there. Is that comfy? Yeah? She just curled up on it. Yeah, I know. You like laying on Mommy's stuff when she tries to work on it. And you like Mama when she does the blankets because they're nice and thick, huh? Yeah. But otherwise, that's all I really have for you today. So, nothing much really happened yesterday. Like I said, I just crocheted a lot. I'm catching up on Below Deck Down Under. If you watch Below Deck and you haven't seen Down Under, I don't know how I feel about it. I dislike a lot of the people they chose for it. I'm not a big fan of the bosun. I'm not a big fan of the one of the deckhands. The other deckhand is super weird. The girl deckhand is fun. I love Aisha. I liked her in the previous shows I've seen her on. I think she's doing a really good job at being a chief stew. I like Toomey, who's her second stew. I'm not a fan of Magda. And Captain Jason is interesting. He's an interesting captain. He definitely is a lot like he seems more of like a crazy cool guy, but when it comes to hit like the safety of the boat and stuff, he is a little more of a hard ass. So I feel like he's a mix of like Captain Glenn and Captain Lee with like that Australian I don't know, culture and like mentality pushed into it. So I'm enjoying him for sure. Oh, and I dislike the chef Ryan so much. Every time oh my gosh, he just rags on everybody, and I feel like I don't understand how he became a chef on this show. He like doesn't understand plating, and I'm not like a chef or anything, but I've seen this show. I've seen amazing chefs on this show, and even if they're like horrible drama people, they still make good food. So, I mean, I don't understand the choices that he's making. He wants to serve everything family style, and I'm like, these people are paying you $60,000 a day to be on this boat, and you're not gonna give them 5-star dining service. Oh, I dislike him. I dislike the way he talks to people. I cannot believe that he said the things he did to Captain Jason and he's still around, but I know that there's quarantine and issues and that they can't just fire him because then they won't have a chef. But I really, really hope he gets fired soon. So I'm having fun catching up on that. But yeah, quest calendar. I got distracted once again. So we have 2 days to do. So we managed to get around the Pistons on Tuesday. So let's see what's up for yesterday's. Okay. Of course. It's a long one. So we have the temple map, and apparently this is the Vigori temple. So this will probably follow our normal rules. We will start at the S and make our way through visiting and then stop when we hit the star. So you've made it into the mechanical temple with all of the gears, motors, axles, they spelled axles wrong, and equipment around. You feel like you've been here before. Perhaps this world itself is a giant machine. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Okay, so obviously we have to hit 7 first because we are at the S, and then we are down here, and then 7 is this hallway, and then we will be in room number 1. So then I'm going to say we come down here into 3, then look at 4, and then we will come back up here and do 2, 5, 6. Yep, that's a 6, and then we will be in the star. But maybe, okay, we'll go that route, but I don't see like doorways to some of these, so maybe they're kind of like the moving stairs from Hogwarts where they like connect funky. So let's see what it says. We start in room 7. This long corridor angles downward. The floor becomes slippery. You lose your footing and fall. You begin sliding down into the darkness before emerging in room number 1. Splash. You fall into a pool of black oily substance. Roll a constitution reminder. Danger sense. Okay. And our constitution is a +1, and we do have danger sense. So that is a +3 total. And that is an 18, so 21. Okay. If the result is 11 or more, you wipe off the oil and carry on. You climb out of the pool and find no doors into or out of this place except for a hole in the ground. Okay, you jump down it and begin sliding. Roll a d6 to determine which room you visit or revisit next. Okay, yeah, so we are moving about this place. Alrighty, so I need to pull out my tiny d6. Alrighty, unexpected. So okay, I am back. I had to find my d6 and I dropped things and things went everywhere and it was a hassle. So not a fun time. Okay. So we are going to roll our d6 to go to different rooms and figure out how we are getting to the end. So we will just roll this little guy and hopefully not make any more messes. So we are starting with room number 4. You fall into a set of rooms rotating rapidly around. Cross the rooms to get to the roll. Dexterity reminder, danger sense. Okay, perfect. So that is a +8. And that is a 5. So we're 13. 11 or more, you maintain proper footing and balance and make it to the exit. You jump down the exit and begin sliding. Roll a d6 to determine which room you visit or revisit next. All right, so it sounds like we are just going until we end up in room number 6, because that's the one connected. Hey, look at that. Room number 6. You fall into a quiet and empty room. There's a corridor ahead that leads to the Terralon Gate. Wow, that was really fast. So here is where we are at. And we were here, and then we went through a hole and ended up in this weird room. And now we are in room 6. So, ooh, okay, it looks like we found the Terralon Gate. And it looks like we're going to get a riddle, which is normal. Okay, you enter a large circular chamber with the open portal above you. Many small bots are perched around the room. A staticky mechanical voice speaks a riddle. I travel along currents and down long canals. Before me, the world was colder whenever darkness fell. Though I make living easy, I'm dangerous as well. What am I? It's got to be electricity, right? Okay, so number 1, guess the answer to the riddle before checking the solution. And then we have 3 options for 2. 2A, sprint to reach the gate, which is dexterity roll with athlete. B is sneak to the gate, undetected, dexterity, reminder, stealthy. And C, prepare for battle, strength, reminder, intimidating. I'm going to go the sneaky route. That's usually the route that we go with. But let's check our riddle. Any form of the word electricity is a valid answer. Cool. If you answered this, gain a +2 to all combat rolls tomorrow. Awesome. And now our dexterity roll. So we have an 8 plus 2, so we have a 10. And I rolled a 6, so 16. Dexterity. Okay, so option B. If the result is 15 or more, just barely, you move quietly as you avoid the attention of all the bots that are busy in their work. You're able to sneak closer to the gate. Gain a +2 to your defense tomorrow. Perfect. So we have a +2 to all combat and a +2 to all defense. Okay, so I'm going to get back. My show started. I have it on mute behind me. So they're doing the Peter McNabb stuff, and they brought back LG Lauren Gardner. She used to be a reporter for Altitude for a while before she moved up to, I think, a more national broadcast. And then they had Adam Foote, who was a former player. I have his jersey. I was surprised to see Footer there. But yeah, so I'm going to get back to watching my show and watch the game. And I will see you all tomorrow. Hello. Happy Friday. Hello, happy Friday. I am here to just make a quick update. I'm just trying to grab my stuff here. So, I finally started A Court of Frost and Starlight, and I am only on I'm going to try to move my bookmark up so you can see it a little better. I'm on chapter 5, so I'm only that far in, which isn't too far, but so far I'm really enjoying it. And we've had Feyre and Reese's POV. So I'm intrigued to see who all POV we're going to get through here, but so far so good. The live show for it is tomorrow, so I'm hoping that I can finish it tomorrow for the live show. So that would be the best, but I just wanted to do a quick little update that I actually have started it. Probably won't finish it tonight, but I've at least started it. But other than that, I don't really have too much else to chat with you about, so let's just do the quest calendar. So we figured out the riddle yesterday, and so we managed, and then we were able to kind of sneak up to it. So we have a +2 to all of our combat rolls and a +2 to something else. I think our attack roll? Or is it damage? I don't know. I will just have to pull this. Oh, defense. Okay, so +2 to all combat rolls plus +2 to defense. Okay, so let's see what goes on today. I'm assuming we're having combat. Okay, and based on our little chart here, we're going to have to fight 1 round each for 4 different little robot dudes. Which is funny, because there's actually 5 in the picture, but we only have to fight 4. All of the mini machines ready to attack. Dozens of bots click and whir with excitement. They arm up and begin to approach from the walls and floors. Okay, oh, and happy Veterans Day as well. Thank you to all who have served. Okay, I'm going to pour my glass out and let us get going here. So, attack is first for robot number 1. That is a 14. And I have a +12 to attack. Hi! So that is 26, and we needed a 19 or more to hit. So then I will roll damage, which is 2d12 plus 5. That is a 6. And another 6, so we are at 17 total damage. And we needed 12 or more to kill this robot. So robot number 1 is dead. On to robot number 2. And that is a 8. So we are at 20. If your attack roll is 20 or more. Oh, I forgot. We have the +2. So 22, technically. But we needed a 20 or more to hit the robot. So perfect. I will roll defense for robot number 2. That is a 9 and a 1. So 10. So 15 total damage. For this guy, we needed 10 or more to kill him. So robot number 3. So technically we have a +14. That is a 7. So 21. For robot number 3, we needed a 17 or more. So we do hit. So damage is a 9. Whoa. And 1. That's weird. So 15 damage again. Oh, if you hit and your damage is 15 or more, he dies. Wow, that was close. That one was a close one. Okay, so then final robot, robot number 4. That is a 9 to attack. So we have a 23 to hit. And on this one, we needed 9 or 19 or more, not 9. Oh, really? Okay, and then damage is an 8 and a 10. So we've got 18 plus our 5, so 23 damage as well. And we needed 13 or more to kill the robot. So we killed all 4 robots. So we collect 12 gold. Holy cow. That is a lot of gold. And I will get that down on my sheet here. Plus 12. Perfect. Alrighty. So that is it. I don't really have much else for this week, so hopefully this video is a little bit shorter, but I hope you all have a great weekend, and I will see you all very soon.